This we in a twilight zone right now. Okay, we live in a country where we believe that the United States is not a slaveholding society. That's number one. We think that non-whites in this country are citizens. So everybody, all the racial categories are citizens. This is the this is the reality that we live in, right? And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to straight up go right at our common knowledge. Okay. And I want to start with the Dred Scott holding. Okay. The Dred Scott, the judgment was reversed and the suit was dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. The Supreme Court and the federal jurisdiction of the United States does not the a black a non-citizen is not within their jurisdiction. So they can't they can't decide on somebody that is not in their jurisdiction. Okay. Mute your mic. Somebody got a mic. Mute your mic. No, okay. So watch this. It says persons of African descent cannot. This is a Supreme Court holding. Okay. And even though this is clear, we still think that we citizens. You ask anybody that is non-white here, are you citizens, black, and you citizens? Yeah, I'm a citizen of the 14th Amendment. Watch this. It says persons of African descent cannot be, nor were ever intended to be citizens under the U.S. Constitution. Okay. Plaintiff is without standing to file a suit. So when somebody says black doesn't have any standing at law, that means that they are not a constitutional citizen in the United States. Watch this. The property clause, this is all before the Reconstruction Amendments, okay? But the property clause is only applicable to lands possessed at the time of ratification, 1787. Such, Congress cannot ban slavery in the territories. The Missouri Compromise is unconstitutional. Congress cannot ban slavery. Yet, we are taught in our education system that the 13th Amendment, which is a congressional amendment to the Constitution, banned slavery. But guess what? Congress can't ban slavery. And so that's why we teach you that it only changed the terms of slavery to punishable as a crime. Okay, so the only way to make a slave now is that you have to duly convict them of a crime. And now you right back in the slave situation. So Congress cannot and never did end slavery in the United States of America. Okay. Number three. That's why Dred Scott is so important. And people keep telling you, go back to Dred Scott. Because the 14th Amendment didn't change Dred Scott. It didn't change Congress's power to ban slavery. And they didn't. Because they can't. That's legal. That's word sorcery on you. That 13th Amendment. Making you think that it banned it. And our education system literally teaches you that. That's a con. All right. The due process clause. Did it tell you what clauses created it? Property clause on that one? This one right here, due process clause, Fifth Amendment, prohibits the federal government from freeing slaves brought into federal territories. So if the Emancipation Proclamation was the federal government emancipating or freeing the slaves, it say that the due process clause of the Fifth Amendment prohibits the federal government from doing that. So not only did the 13th Amendment really mean nothing, or all it did was change the terms to how to create a slave, the Emancipation Proclamation meant nothing at law for two reasons. One, because the due process clause of the Fifth Amendment prohibit them from even freeing your slaves. One, and two, how can the federal government put a law on states that succeeded from the country? They in succession. That means that you ain't their boss no more. So if you ain't the boss, then how can the emancipation be any force of law? All right. So we just talked about, this whole, we in this nexus where we got very plain laws telling you exactly what's good here. If you black, you cannot be, nor was ever intended to be citizens under the U.S. Constitution. Now watch this. Where did they get this from? Why can a law say that you cannot be a citizen here? How can that happen? Where did they get that from? Right? Well, let's go here. This is ancient Rome here. This is where they got this from. Okay? Watch this. Capitis diminutio literally means diminishing a person's personality or status. Okay? A person may lose his personality or legal capacity either in whole or in part. Okay? Watch this. There are 3 stages of losing a person's personality or legal capacity. I'm going to start at the bottom and work our way up. Capitis diminutio maxima consists of losing your liberty, citizenship, and name. This is a person whose status is in bondage. So, in America, this is how our country is set up. If you are a prisoner or slave, that's the same thing in our country. That means that you don't have liberty, loss of liberty. That means you can't go and come as you please. You in a facility where you locked up. You lost your citizenship, meaning you are currently not a citizen of the United States when you are enslaved or in prison. You do not have the rights of citizens. You don't have any rights. And name and family, meaning you don't have a name. Okay? You are numbered when you're a prisoner. All right, watch this. Remember, you can in whole or in part. So you can lose your legal capacity in whole or in part. If you lose all of your legal capacity, you are a slave or a prisoner. Okay? Now, capitis diminutio media consists of the loss of a person's citizenship and family name. But here there is no loss of a person's liberty. Okay? Meaning that you are not locked into a facility no more where somebody is feeding you and they telling you when to wake up and go to bed and all this type of stuff. No, you have personal liberty. You can come and go as you please, have a job, work, this, all that. But you still do not have citizenship or a true identity. This is the situation of blacks in this country. Okay? And look, number 1. This is capitis diminutio minima. Consists of a loss of a person's name, relation alone. But the right to liberty and citizenship is unaltered. Okay? Now, when you talk about the American system, and you talk about blacks in the American system, blacks started out as slaves. And they had no freedom. No, they lost their liberty. They were not citizens, and they had no name. Then emancipation or the 13th Amendment comes, and it says, well, we freed the slaves. Now they're what they call free blacks now. Well, what does that mean now? Well, they still don't have citizenship or a name, but now they just not on the plantation. They got personal liberty, but that's it. Okay, we live in a country right now where people in this position, all they got is personal liberty without citizenship or true identity. They believe that they citizens. They walking around here will swear to you they not in this position. They didn't just get emancipated and no, they all the way at the top. I don't know how they talking about they got there. You ask them how they got there. How did you become a citizen here? Because blacks can't be citizens. That's what Dred Scott said. Dred Scott said they were never, watch this, a person of African descent cannot be or nor were ever intended to be citizens. They can say that because they created black And they created it to represent capitis diminutio media. And so when somebody can create a status called black for the sole purpose of operating in capitis diminutio media, they can make a law and say that you cannot be, nor were ever intended to be citizens here because the intention of your status was to occupy capitis diminutio media. That's why they could make that law, because they created black, and they created it for the sole purpose of just giving you personal liberty without citizenship and a true family name. And let's go to the last one, because this is where checking white really ain't the end. There's actually another step to go. Capitis diminutio minima, this is the next step though, consists of the loss of a person's family relations alone. This is your identity and your name. Okay? See, when you capitis diminutio minima, where we're trying to go, you have the right to your liberty. Come and go as you please. You have your right of citizenship, meaning you have political and civil capacity, right? But there's still one more level, because guess what? The status, capitis diminutio minima, is still not your true name, though. Okay? And see, the thing about identity is it must be self-chosen. So when you reach the level of capitis diminutio minima, which you guys have as whites, right? I want y'all to understand that it's still one more level to go, because white isn't an identity that you chose for yourself. It's one that we are accepting because it's a level up than black. But when enough of us reach the level of capitis diminutio minima, understanding that we got all the rights now, but if we really want our spirituality, we have to choose an identity that we created. And then that's how you become all the way whole. Now y'all, if y'all understood what I just said, let me know something. Y'all awake? Oh,
We're
man.
here. I had a question.
Okay, let me hear you.
Explain to me. Okay, so help me understand, because I know you said this is not the last step that we're doing. There's another step to this.
Okay. So everybody has checked white here.
Right.
Now you have all your rights.
Okay.
But white is not an identity that you chose. Okay, white is an identity, right, that creates your citizenship in America and gives you all the political and civil rights. So now your government, let's watch this. So now let's go right here. This is what whiteness gives you. Make my computer load here. Okay, whiteness, by checking white, you're getting civil and political rights. Okay. These are a class of rights that protect you from your freedoms from infringement by governments, social organizations, and private individuals. So your protection, citizenship is your protection from exploitation. Okay? We are putting you in the best protected position in this country. It is the highest position status-wise that you can have in this country, right? But on a spiritual level, right, whiteness is an identity that you didn't create. Okay? And the most powerful thing about identities is that they must be self-chosen. Okay? The power of identity is that I'm not accepting the name somebody gave me, right? My name is this because I chose it for myself. That's power. Okay? And so we are accepting whiteness right now because it is the highest status that we can have in the United States country, in America. But that's in a political, legal sense in our country. But on a spiritual level, right? When we awaken the blacks and the non-whites in this country, and they start to understand that black is not an identity that they want, and blackness isn't one that you chose either, right? And so if you want true power as a people, then you have to choose your own identity. Then once we in the top class as whites, political equals, then at some point we're going to come to the table and say, this is how we want to be referenced here in this country. Okay. But that's just another part. That's another part after we get everybody on board. Then we'll be able to choose how we want to be referenced here because you'll have the power to do so.
So, in terms of choosing our identity, like I have a different name that I picked.
Right.
Is that where you're going?
Well,
Like,
that's a personal identity. That's right.
okay.
And then as a group too. See, white is a con to get people to get into categories and differentiate themselves, divide themselves up to be exploited. Everybody in the United States of America, once we get to the position where we're all white, we may want to call ourselves something different as a people. Something that we chose together, all of us, not just blacks, everybody. They're going to be like, you know what? Now that we all have the highest status here as a people, we would like to call ourselves this that represents United States citizens, not white no more. Because that was a con and we don't want to play that game no more. You see what I'm saying? So you have a personal identity. Like you said, you change your name. But when America goes all to white, and now we only have one nation with one racial category that anybody's using, because everybody know that we checking white now. As a country, we're probably going to want to come up with a better name to represent our citizens, because we're not going to want to use the trick bag whiteness in order to, hide citizenship. We're going to already know that that's a game, and we ain't going to want to use that no more. And as a people, when we choose our own identity, we choose what American citizen, the name for American citizens now, then we will have all the way broken the con. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we all citizens, right, we're not going to want to be like we whites no more. Right now, we have to use that. But when it all happens, we're going to come to the table like we're not using white no more to represent United States citizens. We about to change that to something that makes more sense. Okay. Anybody else got a question? All right. Keep it moving. So I'll keep it moving. All right. So look. When I'm just tying these things together so y'all can see how all of this lines up. I'm going back to Brown versus Walton, the court case. It says the act of manumission confers no other right but that of freedom from dominion of the master and limited liberty of locomotion. Where did he get that from? Well, he got that from here, because he's saying once you are a slave, when you lost your liberty, citizenship, and name, if we emancipate you or we manumit you, all you're going to do is come up here and get some personal liberty. That's it. Watch this. In his own words, all you get is freedom from the dominion of the master and limited liberty of locomotion. That it does not and cannot confer citizenship. Where does he get that from? Because he know these capitis diminutios. And he like, guess what? We only going from 3 to 2. They only get a little bit of personal liberty. But citizenship? No way. Because we got steps to this. And you can't skip this one, slave, and go all the way to from 3 to 1. They saying, nah. We got laws and we got process here. And the process to go from here, from nothing, no rights at all, to limited personal liberty. You get a little bit of liberty, personal liberty. You can go as come as you please. But citizenship is another step. And this is what they're talking about in their laws. And so when you want to understand, where did they get this from? This is in 1853, this court case, Brown versus Walton. Dred Scott, 1857. How can they say that a person of African descent, our blacks, a identity that we created, How can we say they cannot be nor were ever intended to be? Because they created them to represent something in this country, a middle position, not a slave, personal liberty, but damn sure not no citizen. And that's why we can say that. And so law isn't, they can't just say dark skinned people can't be citizens. Law can't do that. They can't talk to nationals that way. But if they create an identity that's theirs and they do it for a sole purpose, they can go into their laws and say stuff like cannot be nor ever were. That's how they can do that. And even the way our lawyers understand law now, you understand that they're getting a shaft too. The way that they understand law is just to perpetuate a system that's exploiting us. So our help is not in the law currently as our lawyers are practicing now. So look. Some people want to know, are we doing something dangerous? And is this illegal? Are we doing something slick? Well, let's look at this right here. FBI ranks black identity extremists a bigger threat than Al Qaeda and white supremacists. Okay? Who is the threat? All right. Leaked FBI documents documents indicate, let me blow this up a little bit. Black identity extremists. Who are these people? All right. Said the 2018-19 threat guidance document described black identity extremists as those who use force or violence in violation of criminal law in response to perceived racism and injustice in American society. Now, the first thing I want to say is they call it perceived racism, right? But why? Because racism is people in this middle position crying about not being in the top position. And the government, like, this is all perceived racism and injustice in American society because it's not injustice, it's lawful what's going on. This is in line with the way our country is constructed. And so you a threat when you try and come off from this position trying to have what the citizens got. Wow. You a threat to the country because you don't understand racism and injustice, because you think you owe more than what you getting. Let's keep going. It says the files claim some of these black identity extremists acted in hopes of establishing a separate black homeland or autonomous black social institutions, communities, or governing organizations within the United States. Really? So all these people that's out here talking about leaving America, expatriating, and from the United States of America, having a separate black homeland, right? Separate black community, having their own governance. I'm the chief. These are the ones that they got on their eye. Black identity extremists. Do y'all know anybody teaching fuck America, leave, expatriate from America? I'll have my own institution where I'll have a governing organization within the United States, a separate black home. Do y'all know anybody teaching that stuff? Because I tell you one thing, FBI might be looking at them. Separation, separatists. These people talking separate. Refugees in the United States talking about setting up their own country within the United States. Doesn't that sound like a threat to a country? And people ask, are we doing something illegal? All that we doing is on the forms that say voluntary. We choosing, making a voluntary choice. We ain't talking about expatriating from the United States. We ain't talking about setting up no separate governance. We ain't talking about none of that. We ain't doing nothing illegal. Y'all go down to the Social Security office and they are y'all are successful. Do you think that they let you do something illegal at the Social Security office? That's a government institution. Are they gonna allow you to do something illegal there? I don't think so. You ain't going to no slick place getting a fake passport or something like that. You going to the Social Security office and you telling them, I'm white now, jot that down. And they gotta do it. So when y'all want to talk about who got you in the trick bag, who the dangerous people out there teaching information and all that type of stuff, if they talk about leaving the United States, expatriating, I'm gonna be your chief and all that other stuff. Come on, man. FBI on there. The FBI want to know what that's about. The safest route you could do in America. Look, white supremacy groups be doing the most, and guess what? Trump like, it's bad people on both sides. Leave my white people alone, y'all. Like, this America, leave the white people alone. They might be doing the most, but leave them alone. And so the safest, most protected thing that you could do in this country is be white doing whatever you're doing. Even if it's extreme. Because guess what? FBI is on, you know who they on to? These black extremists, these black identity extremists. BIE. They have a alphabet soup. They got a BIEs. Don't be a BIE. Somebody take their mic off. Don't be a BIE. Can y'all repeat? Can we do a call and repeat? Don't be a BIE.
Don't be a BIE. Don't be a BIE.
Don't be following these BIEs. Because the FBI following them too.
So basically, so we're dealing with one of them is Black Lives Matter. Let's see, what's another one? Black Panther Party. Hold on, let me think. What, NAACP? I mean, they're not using the word black, but they're using colored. That's missing. That's a, does that make sense?
Yes.
NAACP. What's another one?
These are organizations going nowhere. Why?
Right.
Because guess what? They're fighting for people, right? In this middle spot, and they in the middle asking for the rights of the people at the top spot. And they like, guess what? You a threat to our construction of the way our country is constructed. If y'all gonna keep battling and it being from this position as black, y'all want all the rights, and we like, nah, man, you can't do that because you was not and cannot be citizens of this country. You checking the wrong thing. And your frustrations got you believing in this thing called racism. Your frustrations because you don't know how to fill out the racial categories, right? Got you in this totally exploited position, and we're not going to do it. We're not going to stop doing it because it's just business. You mad and you want us to do something different. We're not going to do nothing different. Ain't no racism here. Y'all need to check the right box. And because of you're not, and your frustrations, you a threat to us because of your way of understanding how this country works.
There's another Nation of Islam.
You and your black identity, right? Mm-hmm. We watching you. You think they watching us? No, they ain't watching us. What are we doing wrong? We ain't doing nothing wrong. We taking people who are in a position of refugee, not knowing that black ain't got no political or civil capacity here, and we teaching them how to get their birthright, their right at birth to citizenship. We're changing and taking refugees and ushering them into citizenship. There is nothing illegal about what we're doing. As a matter of fact, it's about the most honorable thing that you could do here. And there's nothing this country can do. The power of this information is that the truth will set you free. It's nothing they can do to stop you from exercising your birthright. But if you want to keep thinking that you're going to get your redemption through the black identity, understand that they're watching you.
going through my head. I'm sorry. I'm listening to all the
Yeah.
different groups here.
BIEs. Don't be following no BIE. So when you talking to other people, right? And you telling them like, I'm trying to tell you, I know y'all super black, you know, and that joint ain't really taking y'all nowhere. And we done found out a way to get you out that position, right? Understand that y'all being watched too. The FBI got a special little task force just for you BIEs. And all y'all talking about expatriation. Remember, I put in the homework a document that was going straight at one of these black leaders who wanted to expatriate from the United States of America. I'm talking about gone to the UN and talking to people at the UN about expatriation. And I put that document together to show you that you can't even expatriate in this country without being a citizen first. So all these people trying to teach people how to expatriate and all of that type of stuff, they got to make you a citizen before you can leave. And if somebody is trying to teach you whiteness and leave America, then they're doing that because you can't even leave until you become a citizen first. When y'all understand this information all the way, you will not be able to be fooled. Even if somebody coming to you talking about whiteness too. Yeah, white, check white, this, that, and the other. But if they still talking about, yeah, then we gonna set up our separate black white homeland. Oh yeah, then I'm gonna be the head of the new organization that's gonna be within the. Oh, you gonna be like this. Oh, wait a minute, man. We already got a government. We already got a president, man. His name is Donald Trump. I know people feel some type of way, but come on, man. We already got a president here. We don't need no new leader. We got an establishment. Look, I like the Constitution here. When I'm a part of it. All right, I'm taking questions, man. Somebody got questions.